Good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Welcome to my Saturday stream here on Twitch, which does now begin with a weekly segment covering my WoW Economy weekly wrap-up that has just got published live on wowhead.com. So I start off my streams on Saturdays talking through the blog post, just catching everybody up with what's been happening in the week that was in the WoW Economy and gold making community. And this week we are celebrating reaching 5,000 followers here on my Twitch channel, along with another giveaway on the Wowhead blog itself. So if you'd like to get participating in the giveaway, you can do so by typing the word goblin here in my Twitch chat. So we'll start off the giveaway stuff first here. So the giveaway is running. I'm going to be announcing the winner here on my stream after I finish chatting through this week's Wowhead blog. Where's my texting? Here it is. So for your guys' chance to win a Battle for Azeroth Digital Deluxe expansion upgrade, all you have to do is type the word goblin here in my Twitch chat, and we'll be announcing or rolling for a winner towards the end of the Wowhead segment. So if you are listening in from the Wowhead homepage or the blog post itself, do click through onto my Twitch channel. Come and say hello. I'd like to get involved and participate in the giveaway. But worry not, there is a secondary giveaway on the blog itself after my stream. So if you don't win the one here today on stream, you can enter for your chance for a second Battle for Azeroth digital upgrade on the blog itself. No, it's not cap sensitive, it's not case sensitive. You can type in caps or in not in caps. There is a little bit of subscriber luck turned on just to give people who have been supporting my stream over the last few months a little bit of extra chance to win. But it is open to anybody as long as you're following the stream, and it's open to both NA and EU players. So yeah, that'll be running in the background while I chat through the blog post today, which has just gone live. Let me refresh this just to make sure that my stream is embedded. Yep, there we go. It's live right now.
Hey, how you doing?
So let's have a chat through the post this week. There's been another alpha build. Some interesting information coming through from Profession stuff. So we'll be having a look through that. And a few other bits and pieces coming through the community from Reddit and the Discord, etc. But if anybody is new to the stream or new to the blog posts themselves, my name is Gumdrops. I run the WoW Economy subreddit and the Discord server, which has just recently surpassed 22,000 members. And I'm also the support manager for Trade Skill Master, the add-on for the auction house in World of Warcraft. So my weekly blog here on Wowhead covers a lot of the interesting topics and discussions and maybe some guides that have been published throughout the last week. So I just kind of collect everything together for people to check out and catch up with, or maybe check out for the first time if they're just starting to get into gold making. So I don't really do any specific guides myself. It's not like a step-by-step situation. It's more of a higher level overview of what's been going on in the community. So yeah, how's it going, everybody? Good to see you in the chat. Giveaway is active. Just type the word goblin in the chat there.
Hey, how you doing?
So, the first section, of course, is the latest alpha build that went out on Wednesday, I believe. Maybe Thursday. But yeah, lots of new Profession stuff. We've got a lot of enchanting recipes, some engineering stuff, inscription, jewel crafting, and leatherworking, and some interesting information that we can draw from this regarding the new bind on pickup crafting material, Expulsum, which is the new version of Blood of Sargeras. There's not too much new in terms of enchanting. I'll not go through the whole recipe list here. It's all in the blog post itself for you guys to check out if you wanted super duper detailed information on them. But kind of do a brief overview. Interesting mechanics being introduced to some enchants regarding mana regeneration, threat reduction, and leech, which I don't think has ever been a thing in terms of enchants before in World of Warcraft. So that's going to be interesting to see how that gets utilized by certain classes. Ring enchants obviously also cover secondary stats And the name for the lesser enchant is going to be the sigil, and the brand enchant is going to be providing more stats. So that's the equivalent of the binding and word enchants in Legion today. It is unlikely that we're going to see any neck enchants being introduced, because we will have the Heart of Azeroth in Battle for Azeroth, similar to how we don't have any weapon enchants in Legion today because we have the artifact weapons. So that's kind of just a brief overview of enchanting. Some of the enchants do require Expulsum, the new Blood of Sargeras, but nothing too drastic. Engineering itself has some weapon crafts. This was some models that were data mined last week, which were posted in last week's WoW Economy wrap-up. But interestingly, a lot of the crafts actually require some fused wiring, which is a vanilla item. I'm not sure if it's a placeholder material or if it's going to be intended to require this old school mat. We'll have to wait and see if that does get adjusted. Some of the weapon crafts require up to 10 Expulsum, which is more than the regular crafts with some of the crafted gear in Legion today. Obviously the requirements for Expulsum does get reduced with the higher rank of the recipe, so we are going to get more ranking systems with recipes in Battle for Azeroth, which I think is kind of a good thing. I like the aspect of that profession. There's also return of scopes, because we are obviously going to get weapons again in the next expansion, so the ranged weapons are going to have enhancements that engineers can craft, including one for haste, monolith scope of alacrity, and crow's nest scope for critical strike. So these are going to be a nice little market to get back into, just like we did in previous expansions. So that's engineering. Inscription updates, we have confirmation of the different inks. So we're no longer required to have pigments. They've been upgraded once again to inks. So we've got the Crimson ink, the Ultramarine ink, and the Viridescent ink. And these are all going to be used to make contracts, talent changing tomes, weapons like your staves for the inscription, Vantis runes, war scrolls, and Darkmoon cards. We are going to see a return of the Darkmoon decks, which is going to be pretty awesome. Nice market to be involved in. Very profitable at the beginning of Legion. But we are not able to determine if we can trade Legion pigments or anything into the new inks or convert at the trader. So we'll have to see if anything changes in that regard, and see which kind of inks and pigments we need to stock up on. Naturally, I'm sure you'll be able to trade back from Battle for Azeroth inks into old school stuff. They'll change the vendor into the different inks that you can convert. So it doesn't look like you'll require any Expulsum to make the Vantis runes or the talent changing tome. I think these two are going to be very, very easy to access initial markets for goblins. It's going to be really great starting for inscription. However, the contracts and the Darkmoon cards do require Expulsum, so I don't think that was the case with Darkmoon card of the Legion. It's not a market I'm in myself. Let me see if double check what that was. Did this require any bloods? No, it did not require any blood. So this is actually a change in Battle for Azeroth, that the cards do actually require the bind on pickup item, and it requires 10 Expulsum, which is quite a dramatic number. So yeah, we'll have to see how that turns out for inscription. Another thing to note with inscription itself is they have introduced the mass mill spells again. So you'll be able to collect a bunch of herbs, and that's herbs with a capital H because of my accent. And mass mill them into, I guess they're going to be pigments that you then convert into inks, but there hasn't been any igments data mined in the alpha as far as I've noticed so far. Unfortunately, the structure of the recipe itself hasn't been changed from today in Legion, which will affect things like Trade Skill Master. Simply because the recipe itself indicates that it requires 20 herbs, or Akunda's Bite in this example, to mill, but the result of that spell only returns one of the same herb you've already used. So according to the game, the crafting cost of one of these herbs is 20 of the herbs. So something to keep in mind when you're starting out with inscription in Battle for Azeroth. Your crafting cost for those kind of herbs is going to be completely irrelevant. Some So that's kind of the wrap up for inscription. The next profession that's covered is jewel crafting. Nothing too extravagant found so far, just a bunch of jewelry and staves that you can craft. However, there's a couple of the crafts that don't actually require any of the bind on pickup expulsum. So these could be initial targets for the scrapper, which we speculated on last week in the weekly wrap up, whereby there's a potential that you can scrap crafted items that do not require expulsum in order to generate expulsum. And I talk a little bit about this in the leatherworking section because kind of gives a little bit of credence to my train of thought. So yeah, these kind of crafts where they don't require any bind on pickup item can be, or may be, the target, similar to today with the shuffling leatherworking or tailoring bracers into enchanting mats with the off chance of getting bloods. This could be a primary way of obtaining these expulsum. So leatherworking is the most interesting data mining I've noticed. There are recipes for each equipment slot which don't require very intense materials. This all seems to be very low level mats from Battle for Azeroth, like the coarse leather and the bloodstained bone for the arm guards. I'm specifically noticing the arm guards because they're normally the cheapest crafts to make in any kind of profession. The spells themselves don't indicate that they require any expulsum, and they don't have any ranks either, so these aren't recipes that you can rank up. They're just pretty basic bare bones recipes and crafts, and potentially these are also going to be primary targets for generating expulsum. If these crafts can be produced without expulsum and then thrown into the scrapper in Battle for Azeroth to generate the expulsum, these are going to be items that you craft to then distribute amongst all of your alts with professions and generate the expulsum for your alts instead of just locally for that individual character. So the reason I'm still thinking this, and why I'm thinking it's still going to be the case, is that when you're looking at a craft for the Hardened Tempest leggings, which is a leatherworking piece that was data mined as well, this actually requires 40 expulsum, which is a 10 or 20 times increase to any recipe in Legion that required Bloods of Sargeras for any craftable, equipable gear, obviously not including legendaries, which needed 65 Bloods. So with that in mind, I don't believe there's going to be any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Rather, I do believe there has to be a way of obtaining expulsum at a much faster rate than Bloods that you can do today in Legion. And I think that the scrapper is an ideal solution to that. So if you've got any kind of professions that's crafting things with cheap materials, you just send it off to the character that you need the expulsum on, and you can mass produce your expulsum in order to get that on your crafters. So unfortunately, there's not many materials that are obtainable on the alpha, so even though the recipes have been introduced and you've got the materials required, you can't actually get the materials, you can't mine for stuff, you can't mill anything, you can't herb anything at the moment, I believe. Can't quite confirm because I don't have access to the alpha myself yet, but if anybody does have access to the alpha and is tuning in and would be able to test out that kind of information, it would be very much appreciated. So obviously right now all of this is just speculation until we get some more hard evidence regarding what the situation is there. So the discussion point for this week for the alpha is, which profession are you guys most excited for in Battle for Azeroth? And if you do have access to the alpha, what have you been testing out so far? So if you would like to leave a comment on the blog itself, that also will give you one entry to win another edition of the Battle for Azeroth digital upgrade. Digital Deluxe rather. So now that we've finished this first section, I will just repeat the fact that we are running a giveaway right now for the stream today. So if you do want to get involved, come and type the word goblin in my stream chat if you're listening on the Wowhead homepage or on the blog post itself that's just gone live on Wowhead. Do click through onto the channel, come and say hello and type the word goblin in the chat. It's open to both EU and NA players, but you must be following the stream. And the winner will be announced once we've finished talking through the blog for this week's segment of the stream. So next section of the blog today is quite a bit of discussion on the subreddit this week regarding trade chat trolls and dealing with people in the trade chat. Obviously, occasionally when you've got something you want to sell and you're posting it in the trade chat, you're going to get a bunch of people saying, hey, I'll give you 10 gold for it, or try and insult you by saying that you're overcharging, or just trying to be a general nuisance in the chat, trying to badmouth you, etc. So there's been a few discussions on how to deal with that, and obviously common sense or the basics, too long didn't read of it, is just to ignore it really and just carry on with what you're doing. But yeah, there's a guy on the subreddit called Antanzarian who shared an anecdote of their recent experiences whereby they bought a eye level 960 leggings of Sable Stalker for 100,000 gold, obviously hoping to flip it for a nice profit, and they're listed on the auction house for 375k. And there was a guy pretty much insulting them, saying that they were dumb, trying to overcharge because you could get that kind of gear elsewhere. But eventually he did find somebody to purchase the item off the auction house for the full price of 375k, so that was pretty awesome, and just kind of goes to show that you don't really have to pay much attention to people who are naysaying and trying to disrupt what you're doing. So a majority of players, as we've discussed before, don't really use any kind of auction house add-on, so they don't have any means or any process to determine the general value or the worth of an item to anybody but themselves. So since a lot of the stuff that they're dealing with or seeing in the trade chat is irrelevant to themselves, they don't have any kind of idea that other people might find that item valuable. So therefore they might try and take it upon themselves to be helpful, to say, hey, I think that's overcharging. But obviously if you've already done your research and you're confident in the price of what you're up to, you should just be able to continue what you're doing, ignore what they're saying, and try and find a buyer. Obviously your response or reaction to these kind of people who are trying to disrupt what you're doing and naysay and maybe even insult you, if you react negatively to that, it does often escalate.
I have a deal for you.
So it's often important just to ignore these messages or just not let it get to you, and if it does escalate to a point where it would be considered harassment, there's obviously the report button you can use in the game, and if you are on the side of it where you're trying to help somebody out, obviously don't be too negative or don't insult anybody. It's all a friendly gold making community. So Druid Style on the subreddit as well followed up with a comment just with a kind of anecdote, or rather, what's the word I'm looking for? Mantra maybe, of water off a duck's back. So you're not letting it affect you. You're not taking it too personally. You're not reacting to it, etc. You're just letting it get bounce off you and not affecting your day.
I got what you need.
So anybody who's posted big ticket items in the trade chat, you obviously already experienced this. If you're posting like a TCG mount or you're posting some kind of valuable item, people are just going to lowball offer and just try and troll you to get some kind of reaction out of you. He does go on to kind of describe a situation that he experienced in the early 90s in a Magic the Gathering magazine. He shares a story about there's a sucker born every minute, and I wouldn't necessarily agree that anybody that you're trying to sell something to would be classed as a sucker in quotes, but the idea of finding your market definitely applies, whereby you have an item that somebody needs, they're prepared to pay something for it, you just have to find that person and find out how much they're prepared to pay for it. Whether that's somebody just on one-off item, or whether it's a consistent purchase with this particular subgroup of players in the game who buy something consistently. When you identify that person, you can then make a bunch of sales. There's also a situation where it could be another gold maker or goblin who's trying to score some kind of cheap deal, or assuming that you yourself are naive and ignorant to the value of the item that you're trying to sell. Ninja Panda Cookie on the subreddit described that situation where you had a mount who was trying to sell for 80,000 gold, and somebody kept trying to say that you'd never get anybody buying at that price because it's only worth 55k. Started talking about how stupid they were and trying to sell it at such a vastly overinflated price, but eventually he listed it on the auction house for 100,000 gold, even more than his asking price, and by the time he logged in the next day he'd sold it for the full price. So his inclination and feeling was that It was somebody who was just trying to make a cheap purchase and try and make a nice profit out of that situation, which is obviously you've got to be aware of. So yeah, be friendly about things, be nice to people, don't assume that people are ignorant or trying to rip people off. I think that's kind of common sense. It's just be excellent to each other in all situations, and then everybody has a bit of a nicer day. So the discussion points for this section of the blog is what is your strategy to buy and sell things in the trade chat, or do you avoid the trade chat because of the trolls or people reacting negatively, and what's the best deal you've ever found in the trade chat. So these are the 3 questions to discuss on this section of the Wowhead blog, which will, if you answer these questions on the blog itself, it will enter you for another chance to win a Digital Deluxe Battle for Azeroth upgrade, if you don't happen to win the edition we're giving away on stream today. So yeah, just to remind everybody who's listening, we are giving away a Digital Deluxe Battle for Azeroth upgrade on stream right now, which will be announced, the winner will be announced at the end of the Wowhead segment. We've got 2 more sections to go. If you would like to get involved, if you're listening on the Wowhead homepage or on the blog post itself, do come and click through onto my Twitch embed. Come and say hello in the chat and type the word goblin in the chat, and that gets you entered in for this live giveaway here on the stream. It is open to both EU and NA players, and you must be following the stream in order to win. There is only 88 entries so far, so there's pretty good chances. You want to come through and type the word goblin, and you will enter for your chance to win. I am seeing everybody saying hello. I will catch up with everybody once we've got through the Wowhead section. So next section is kind of an updated guide to seed raids. There's not many people who have participated or even been aware of what a seed raid is in Legion. So one of the guys from the Seed Raid Discord put together an updated guide just covering what a seed raid is and how to go about getting involved in it. Obviously there's still a bit of time left of Legion to get involved in that. Well, I'm sure once Battle for Azeroth rolls around, you'll still be able to participate in things like this coming back to Legion. But unfortunately it doesn't look like there's going to be anything of the sort being carried forward into Battle for Azeroth. So yeah, just kind of going through what a seed raid is, whereby you have a group, a raid group of 10 people to plant Legion herbalism seeds. Obviously you've got the Aetheril, the Dreamleaf, Fjornskaggle, Foxflower and Starlight Rose. These are the ones that people can plant and harvest. And because of the multi-tapping system that was introduced in Legion, up to 10 people can harvest a herb from each planted seed. So if 10 people are in a group together, one person plants a seed, all 10 people can harvest something from that seed that was planted. So you kind of do a round robin situation where each person in the group plants a seed and then collects something from that seed and goes round and round until everybody runs out of seeds. So obviously Fellwort seed can be planted, but it's not something that is included in seed raids. It's not
I have a deal for you.
a multi-tap herb, and your cerulean seeds obviously cannot be planted. That's for something else in alchemy. So if you would like to find out more about seed raids, you can join the Seed Raid Discord, which is linked on the
I know a buyer when I see one.
on the blog post itself. You can join up onto the server and get familiar with the frequently asked questions and get yourself a role depending on your region. And then the rest of the guide kind of goes through what you've got to prepare in order to join a seed raid. So obviously you need to be a herbalist, you need to have rank 3 of Fellwort and Aetheril. Fellwort rank 3 gives you additional seeds from the seed raid, so whenever you harvest a herb plant, you do get a chance to get a seed back after you've planted it, so you get like a 30% return from Fellwort rank 3. The other requirement is Aetheril rank 3, because you do get additional herb spawning when you harvest a herb, which obviously increases the yield of your herbs at the end of the seed raid. So those are normally the 2 requirements for any seed raids that you join.
I got what you need.
There are also 3 main ways to acquire seeds. You can farm them yourself by herbing around Broken Isles. After you have Fellwort rank 3, you can get seed from Herbalism Will quests, and they do post announcements in the Discord when they are active in each region, so you can get involved in getting some seeds, or you can buy them off the auction house or trade from other players if they have extra seeds, etc. So how many seeds do you need? Often the seed raid size requires 50 seeds per person. So it's 50 seed raids take about 25 minutes to 1 hour to complete, and 100 seeds normally takes upwards of 50 minutes, depending on how fast people are going. Yeah, giveaway still going on, Leilas. Just have to type the word goblin in the chat. Is it worth the investment these days? Yeah, obviously it does depend on the server. If you're just trying to mass produce some alchemy stuff, it can be often worth it, that's for sure. So there is 2 spots in Legion where you can plant your seeds, but every seed raid normally goes on in Azuna at the Fellblaze Ingress. I forget where the secondary spot is, but if there are people kind of harassing or trying to leech off the seed raid, people do move over to the second spot, but I don't remember where it is at this moment in time. But yeah, the full guide, which will just pop open onto the stream here, it does go through some more details on advanced information with tips and tricks, a lot of rules and kind of different situations that people can get involved in, along with enchants and different strategies, along with add-ons and stuff, some weak auras there. So like the full guide on the subreddit itself does have some more information. And just to round out this section, so far in the alpha data mining for Battle for Azeroth, there's no sign of any seeds for herbalism. So to me that kind of indicates there may be no plans to carry this kind of system forward into Battle for Azeroth, which is very, very disappointing if that is the case, simply because it is such a cool concept, just collecting a group of people together to go and min-max a gathering profession. It's obviously not something that you can get involved in just immediately, just drop into it. You do have to invest a little bit of time and effort to qualify to participate, such as the rank 3 Aetheral and Fellwort herbs, and also actually acquiring the seeds, so either farming them or spending gold to get involved in that. So I really do hope something similar is introduced to Battle for Azeroth. I do like the concept of mutually beneficial gold making, people getting together in a group and either gathering something or farming something, and everybody benefits at the end of the session kind of thing. So discussion points for this section is asking if you have ever participated in a seed raid. Any thoughts or comments on that kind of situation? Another question is, would you like to see something similar introduced in Battle for Azeroth? And what other professions could possibly benefit from some kind of group style content? So any kind of other professions that could have some kind of system like the seed raid, I think that might be interesting to discuss. So if you want to leave a comment answering these questions on the blog, as I say, that does also enter you in for a secondary giveaway of the same prize of a Battle for Azeroth Digital Deluxe upgrade, which we are giving away as well here on stream right now. So if you'd like to get involved in either, you can come and type the word goblin in my stream chat or leave a comment on the Wowhead blog itself. There's a link to the blog in the chat at the moment. If you are listening on the Wowhead homepage or the blog post itself, do feel free to click through to the stream, come and say hello, type the word goblin to participate in the giveaway, and yeah, that is open to both EU and NA players, but you must be following the stream in order to win, otherwise we'll be doing a reroll. So, last section of the blog, it's not too much extra information, but I'm kind of putting out a call to the community, asking what kind of content and in the form of guides that people might be interested in seeing. In the ramp up to the launch of Battle for Azeroth, I'm personally thinking about what kind of content and guides I can put together for the community, but I'm kind of looking at it as more of a higher level overview of concepts or features or topics or anything like that, and not like a step-by-step guide. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm just letting people copy and paste stuff
I know a buyer when I see one.
to set up something or to execute something on a server. So yeah, as I say, I'm calling on the community, you guys listening or commenting, or on the Discord or the subreddit, etc. Just make requests or suggestions on topics, philosophies or strategies that you'd like me to cover in depth or with more detail than I would normally do with my running commentary on the weekly Wowhead wrap-up. So naturally at the top of my own list so far is pretty much Trade Skill Master. Version 4 is in beta testing right now, but once that's nearing the end of beta and getting close to release, I do plan on publishing some guides covering the aspects of TSM, like installing it and setting it up, groups and operations, pricing and logic functions, auctioning and shopping operations, crafting with Trade Skill Master, sniper, warehousing and mailing, and lesser known tips and tricks. So all kind of different features of TSM that I do hope to provide like a higher level overview of the different features rather than a step-by-step situation. As I say, it's not going to be something that you can copy and paste. I wouldn't be saying what to craft in the crafting guide, but I would be showing how to handle items that you do want to craft. It's more like a introduction to the features. So yeah, at the same time there could also be some kind of crash course to Trade Skill Master, just like a basic intro to the fundamental concepts, or just a fundamental crash course of the Warcraft economy itself, or anything like that on the anything else along those lines. I'm definitely looking for more evergreen style content that wouldn't necessarily become outdated at the launch of a patch or a new expansion. So it would just be kind of tread as a resource for people to refer to as a gold maker. So yeah, that's the plan there. So feel free to shout out in the chat or leave comments on the blog with some ideas of what you'd like to see in terms of guides for that kind of thing. As I say, the discussion point is what kind of guides would you like to see for goblins, and what is a subject or topic you may have struggled to understand as a gold maker. I'm definitely looking for things that people have commonly found issues with understanding, that I can maybe help people understand. And of course we do have the giveaway on the Wowhead blog itself. We have 2 copies of Battle for Azeroth Digital Deluxe to give away, one on the blog itself and one here on my live stream. So just to cover again the live stream giveaway, if you're listening right now here on Twitch, you can participate in the giveaway by clicking through onto my Twitch stream and typing the word goblin in my chat. It is open to both NA and EU players. You must be following the stream in order to win. We'll be starting to announce the winner probably in the next 5 minutes or so, because we have finished chatting through the weekly Wowhead wrap-up. So if you are listening on the Wowhead page or the blog posts, do click through and come and say hello. Type the word goblin for your chance to win. And there is a giveaway as well on the Wowhead blog itself. In order to participate in that giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment on the blog post answering any of the discussion points that we've talked through here today, and that winner will be announced on Friday, April the 5th, or at least the giveaway entries will be accepted up to Friday, April 5th, and that will be open to both EU and NA players as well. So obviously all the stuff we've been covering today here on the stream is originally posted either on the WoW Economy subreddit or the accompanying Discord server, and obviously if you're listening now, you'll be catching me streaming live on Twitch, and my schedule is underneath the stream. So yeah, that about wraps up the WoW Economy weekly wrap-ups, for want of a better word.
I got the best deals anywhere.
I'd be happy to answer any questions as we give people a chance, or another 5 minutes or so to participate in the giveaway. Anybody had any extra questions about the blog itself?
I have a deal for you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Do have 145 entries for the giveaway so far, and as I say, there is a little bit of subscriber luck turned on, just to give people who have been supporting the stream for a few months now a little bit of an extra chance to win.
Customer.
I will win. I'll just go on Ignis. Yeah, we'll wait until the time on the in-game is 1740. I think that'll give us a nice timing. So there's 4 minutes left now to come and participate. Just come and type the word goblin in the chat It is not case sensitive, but caps do look good.
I got what you need.
Goblin, absolutely. So yeah, I've quite enjoyed putting together this week's Wowhead blog. I was really enjoying going through all the data mining, finding out all the new recipes and stuff. This leatherworking, he has all the basic non-intense material crafts, which could be potential scrapping shuffles.
I got what you need.
And then you've got all the high level crafts with the super insane amount of expulsum that's required, like these Tempest leggings that need 40 times expulsum, and all the crafts from Legion required a maximum of 8
Potential customer.
just for the regular crafts outside of mounts and pets and stuff. So yeah, I'd be very curious to see how frequently you're gonna find or acquire expulsum outside of the scrapper. Hopefully it'll be
Hey, how you doing?
at a much faster pace than Bloods. What else did we have? We did have some interesting engineering weapon, not weapon, but belt enchants that we covered in last week's post. Personal space amplifier and miniaturized plasma shield. Lots of quality of life stuff
Potential customer.
for engineers. But we didn't go into too much detail on those this week because we did mention them in last week's post. Why is the guild bank so slow? I think it's just an issue on Blizzard's side at the moment. What's a scrapper? It's the new Battle for Azeroth Obliterum Forge, kind of an evolution of that, whereby you can scrap crafted items and get the material component parts back with a chance of getting Expulsum, which is the new Blood of Skargaris. It's good to see you, Gumdrop. Sorry I missed your stream yesterday. Sounds good, Emery. Hope you're doing well today. We do have a couple of minutes left, 2 minutes left to participate in the giveaway. If you are listening on Wowhead, do click through to the stream and type the word Goblin in the chat for your chance to win a Battle for Azeroth Digital Deluxe upgrade. It is open to both NA and EU players, but you must be following the stream in order to win. And there is a little bit of subscriber luck turned on, just to give the guys who have been supporting the stream for a while now a little bit more chance to win. As multiple people can access the guild bank at the same time, things get a lot more complicated than when withdrawing things from your personal bank. Yes, that's very true. Hopefully it is going to be addressed soon, but I haven't seen any official comments on that. So less than 60 seconds left, guys, before we're going to click that roll button. Last chance to participate. Come and type the word Goblin in the chat and enter for your chance to win a Digital Deluxe edition of the Battle for Azeroth expansion. Just be able to open by one player. Yeah, I think that's probably a bit too excessive. Yeah, you must be following the stream in order to win. If the winner is picked and you're not following, it will be a reroll, so make sure you click that follow button.
I got the best deals anywhere.
So that's 17:40 my time. We'll give another 30 seconds or so just for the delay. Last chance to participate, to come and get involved in the giveaway. Type the word Goblin in the chat,
I know a buyer when I see one.
and we'll be announcing a winner here in just a second. So 3, 2, 1, clicking roll. The winner is Excelsius. Fantastic. Congratulations, Excelsius. Thank you everybody for participating. Commiserations if you didn't win the live stream giveaway, but there is obviously a second chance to win on the Wowhead blog itself. So go and leave a comment on the Wowhead blog. There is going to be another edition of the Battle for Azeroth Digital Deluxe to be won. All you have to do is leave a comment on the blog itself. So I'll pop a link to that in the chat. Where's my command? Here it is. First time I ever win something. Fantastic. That's amazing. Yeah, I'll get in touch with you after the stream. We'll figure out the details.
I have a deal for you.
But yeah, congratulations Excelsius, and thanks everybody for participating. Very much appreciated. If you have tuned in from Wowhead, thank you so much. I'll be doing another WoW economy wrap up
I got the best
for
deals
next week.
anywhere.
I am going to go ahead and remove the embed from the homepage, just so we're not trying to clickbait anybody through onto the channel. Let me save this here.